Donald Trump ramps up his trade war, sending tariff letters to 14 nations, mainly in Asia, including key U.S. allies Japan and South Korea. But the U.S. president signals room for negotiation before a new 1st of August deadline. For more, Kate Fisher joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Kate, countries are rushing to soften the tariff blow by ramping up negotiations with the U.S. But how realistic is this 3-week window?
Well, it's a lot to get done in 3 weeks. And I think you can see how the Trump administration has seen just how much has to be done, given initially they were promising 90 deals in 90 days. That tariff deadline has now been extended for a third time to August the 1st. And there are still questions as to how much they can actually get done in that time. So far, there have only been 2 deals done, one with the UK and one with Vietnam. But even that is really just a framework, and most of the big details are yet to be hashed out. We've got, obviously, South Korea and Japan, who have just been landed with 25% tariffs, but are both close allies of the United States. The US, well, Donald Trump, frustrated by the amount of cars that they import into the US. He doesn't believe that is fair. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you have smaller economies like Laos and Myanmar, who are being given 40% tariffs in a bid to try to get them to sign on to a better deal with the Trump administration. So lots of pressure once again coming from this White House in the trade sector. Donald Trump is once again renewing his aggression when it comes to tariffs.
Back in the United States, is there any opposition to these tariffs for fear of what they may do to prices?
Yeah, I think there really is. Just anecdotally, I know people who are, trying to work out when the best time to buy a washing machine is, if it's going to have originated in one of these countries, whether to spend on a big purchase like a car now before the tariffs are increased, or whether to wait in case this all blows over again and Donald Trump changes his mind once again. There was a poll out on Monday in the US from Yahoo Finance and Maris saying that 81% of Americans are concerned about tariffs, and it is the second biggest economic concern to them after inflation, and 34% of them have said that they are holding off on buying these big ticket items because they are so uncertain about the economy. Whether that will translate into a drop in opinion polls for Donald Trump or a drop in his supporter base is another question. But certainly, according to this latest poll, it is affecting the way Americans think about their purchasing.
All right, thanks for that, Kate. Kate Fisher there, live in Washington, D.C. Now, Asian grocery stores have made major inroads into the American market in recent years, especially in places with large Asian populations like the San Francisco Bay Area. But with a potential 25% levy on South Korean and Japanese goods, stores expect to see their costs rise, creating uncertainty for businesses and consumers. Ira Spitzer reports.
The food and grocery complex Jigalchi opened its doors a few months ago just south of San Francisco, featuring a dizzying array of Korean food and products.
Over here we have our house-made kimchi, which is also
owned by Korean shopping giant Megamart. Shoppers have embraced it so far, with lines out the door for its opening and a good-sized lunchtime crowd on a recent Monday. A reception its marketing specialist Audrey Lapuz says is encouraging.
So it's been really well received, and as we're 3 months in now, we've noticed a really nice, steady, gradual growth month by month.
Asian grocery stores have been expanding in number and reach in the U.S., fueled by a growing Asian American population and a widening interest in Asian flavors. Last year, U.S. ethnic grocery stores took in $55 billion. Asian stores like Jigalchi, which took over this shopping mall location, which had been vacant for 5 years, have become key players in efforts to revitalize retail in the San Francisco area. As many as 7 large Asian chain grocery stores are scheduled to open around here this year. But even as such stores gain traction, they face a big threat from the Trump administration's looming tariffs. South Korean products will be taxed at 25% beginning next month as things stand now, and other Asian countries like China, which have trade surpluses with the U.S., would be affected. For economics professor Christopher Meissner, that spells tough times for consumers.
Those products will definitely be priced much higher in the near future due to those tariffs. I don't see any other way around it. So the larger places will have an easier time, but the smaller mom and pop stores and the smaller retailers, they're going to get the pinch.
Chigalchi is working on things like creating more in-house products, but there are still a lot of unknowns.
Obviously, in the future, there's a lot of uncertainty that may come up, but we will find those solutions as they come.
Smaller shops without corporate backing are likely to have a harder time, and consumers are gearing up as well, as Asian American Studies professor Russell Jung explains.
I know that the community has been stocking up in Asian goods, buying rice and soy sauce and things like that.
Negotiations are ongoing between the U.S. and Asian countries, but with U.S. President Trump now declaring a 25% tariff on Japan and South Korea, Asian stores and their visitors are hoping those discussions don't go up in flames. Ira Spitzer, CNA, San Francisco.
And Japan's prime minister has described as deeply regrettable the 25% tariff that could hit early August. While he has pledged to continue talks to reach a mutually beneficial deal, Shigeru Ishiba is sticking to his position of making no move that could compromise national interests.
現時点で日米双方が折り合えない点が残っており、残念ながらこれまで合意に至っておりません。これは日本政府として安易な妥協を避け、求めるべきものは求め、守るべきものは守るべく、厳しい協議を続けてきたからであります。
It is a tricky time for the Prime Minister. His government is facing an upper house election with the data suggesting the ruling coalition could possibly fail to retain its majority, which may complicate trade negotiations. But there are some who remain optimistic. My colleague Tan Chu-yi spoke to a former national security advisor to Japan, and she started by asking how he thinks Mr. Trump's latest tariff letter will shake the long-standing U.S. and Japan alliance.
There are a couple of hiccups, always. And this trade tariff issue is one of those materials which creates hiccups. The companies who have been exporting items over to U.S. markets would have to suffer, but overall the U.S.-Japan relations have been kept and maintained stably. Our alliance has been working quite well. The tariff rates is one contentious issue. Even during the tariff negotiations for the last 4 months or so, the Japanese companies have started to invest in U.S. market, setting up production bases in U.S. We consider that the views of the Trump administration should be a wake-up call for us, that we should realize the threat of China. When he started off a trade war with China, quite knowledgeable people considered that Trump is not that crazy. So his administration created a good balance between the US and China, introduced many institutions which would give warnings to the US public that they should be cautious about simple engagements, trade engagements, or a variety of intellectual engagements with China. But this time, when second Trump administration started, people were bewildered of what he wants to do, because it started off raising tariffs to all around the world. large and small countries. This has given us a question what he wants to do. He might compensate the tax reductions. He might simply increase the negotiating capabilities for US. He might compensate the defense budget for US's friends and allies by raising tariffs. We don't know. Mr. Trump can be a reformer, but we are not certain yet whether he is a real good reformer we need, or he is simply destabilizing the world.